In the fall of 2022, two mature black bears showed up across the river on our hunting trail cameras. One at a stand called Big Pine, and the other at a stand we called Nosebleeder. We hadn't ever had a black bear on camera in 25 years of hunting at Ray's 80 acres of property. Then, in summer of 2023, during late June, in the middle of peak breeding season for black bear, a huge boar showed up, and he was paired up with a mature sow. They were caught on camera again at Big Pine Stand. It was shortly after that I realized I might have screwed up. I said to myself, we should have put in for our tags this year to hunt bear at Ray's. Ray Lazinski, my dad's dear friend and my good friend over time, has 80 acres on the Black River in Sheboygan County, Michigan. It's an awesome place. It's wild and free as any piece of land as you can find in northern Michigan. It sits just 3.5 miles from the small town Onaway, 40 acres on one side of the river and 40 acres on the other side. Ray built a cabin with his good friend Novak 30 plus years ago. It has no power, no water, no shower, 3 bunk beds Ray made, and a living room with a 2-seat couch and a single armchair to go along with it, a kitchen minus the plumbing, and a clean and nicely built outhouse. Ray is the best one man can be. He has a big heart, family at the core, hardworking, skilled tool and die tradesman. He's funny, he's loud, he's caring, and a man who gives as much as he gets. My dad started hunting at Ray's back in 1996 through a mutual friend, Gordy Sanders. Shortly after, Dad asked Ray if he could bring his son up to hunt one fall. Ray said sure, and in 1998, I made my first trip up to Ray's camp. I was 18 years old, in college playing sports, working out, going to class, and fitting in hunting as best I could back in those days. I am so thankful to Ray and his family for allowing Dad and I to be a part of their camp and their family over the last 25 plus years. So during the winter of 2024, I asked Ray if he would mind if Dad and I put in for our black bear tags and tried to hunt bear on his property. Ray said, sure, I don't care, go for it. I then asked Dad if he would be interested, and he said, sure, if Ray don't mind. I then had a long conversation with Dad about being serious about the hunt, because in Michigan, to get a bear tag in the Lower Peninsula, it takes a minimum 10 to 12 years to draw the tag. You see, it's a weighted lottery system. Each year you apply for a bear tag, you apply for a point. If you do not draw the tag, you get the point. After you accumulate 10 points, 12 points, you most likely get a tag. Well, I had been saving my points, and I had 15. That's 15 years of applying and saving my points for a guaranteed tag if I decided to go for the hunt. Dad had 12 points. So when I had the serious conversation with my dad about doing this, I wanted to make sure he was fully in. And that to do it right was going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of time, money, and dedication. So after about 3 months of making sure he was all in, we both applied for bear tags in June of 2024. And wouldn't you know it, we both drew tags. One of my dream hunts has been to hunt black bear with my dad in Michigan, and if possible, with Ray at his camp and on his property. My dad is always and always will be my number one hunting buddy. He taught me everything about hunting, shooting a bow, shooting a rifle, how to follow the rules and laws when hunting, and how to respect the game and others who hunt. Since I was 8 or 9 years old, he had me shooting a kid's bow in the backyard. And as soon as I could pull a compound bow heavy enough to kill a white-tailed deer, he set me up and let me hunt for real. And at 11 years old, I killed my first white-tailed deer at Marv Foder's property in Isabel County, Michigan. Marv was my dad's close hunting buddy. To this day, Dad still says Marv was the best hunter he ever knew. And to me, Marv was one of the best, but Dad's the best in my book. Marv was really good at everything he did. He was a great baseball pitcher, played in the minors and gave it up after they refused to trade him to another organization because he was getting screwed on playing time, as they had a lot of money wrapped up in a younger prospect. And when it came to hunting, Marv was no different. It was game time. Not only did Marv have the best bows and shoot the top rifles, he wanted all in his hunting camp to have success, no matter if it was an adult or if it was a kid. To this day, when I hunt each fall and winter, I think of Marv. I wonder about which bow he'd be shooting today. I think of his great big smile and infectious laughter at the house. I think of him having total awareness of his property, putting guys on deer, and finding that first deer I shot 250 yards away from where I shot it, with snow falling steady one late November evening in an irrigation ditch. Marv said he knew where that deer was headed, and sure enough, Dad and I hopped in his truck, drove the field right next to the irrigation ditch. Marv spotted that deer out of his truck's window lying dead in the ditch 250 yards away. It was the greatest hunt of my life. God rest Marv Fodor. He was a great man. So going back to the bear hunt, in late April of 2024, Dad, Ray, and I headed up to Ray's camp. Ray's son, Ray Jr., Ray's daughter, Renee, and her husband, Dave, came up as well. The trip was to break ground and set up a bear site, which including chaining and roping a 300-gallon barrel to a tree, clearing trees with a chainsaw for a small opening in the thick pines and cedars where the bear would most likely feel more secure feeding, and setting up 2 tree stands for a double set. That would allow Dad and I to sit next to each other, if desired, when hunting. The goal of this bear hunt was to do it with Dad, do it with Ray, do it on Ray's property, and share it with any of his family who wanted to be a part of it. So after the 3-day weekend and lots of work, we had Bear 1 stand site, as we called it, finished and ready to go if we were to draw bear tags in July. Dad, Dave, Renee, Ray Jr., and I all enjoyed it once finished, as we all took a walk with us across the river to what we called the wild side, to see our setup and to take a few pictures. The wild side is where all the game are: coyotes, bear, elk, turkey, bobcat. It's the best. As we started to feed and try to attract any bear in the site, we used many gallons of cheap canola oil infused with highly concentrated cherry, butterscotch, and bacon scent added to the oil. I bought a gallon pump sprayer used for weed control in 4 32-ounce handheld spray bottles. We then filled them up with cooking oil and the concentrate and sprayed as high up in the trees, on the tree trunks, on the brush, logs, and tall ferns in the entire surrounding area of the bait site, 50 yards to 100 yards away from the bear site. In a perimeter, we sprayed oil everywhere. That oil, with concentrate, is the key to drawing bears in. Their noses are 100 times stronger than humans and 10 times stronger than dogs. Their ability to smell is uncanny. So we use that to our advantage, set up the area that smells so strong that any bear within a mile of the bear site, if he gets a whiff, he'll come and check it out. In 36 hours, we had our first bear arrive, a very big, mature sow with 3 cubs. Mama and cubs decided to make Ray's land home for the summer, and they loved everything we set up for them. The cubs are so small, and they follow Mama Bear everywhere and depend on her for her survival. They even smell her breath and learn what to eat based on that through their early years. Now, Mama Bear with cubs are illegal to harvest in Michigan, and rightly so. And Mama Bear is a good mature bear. Without cubs, she would be a very respectable bear to harvest. But this year, she's off limits. This winter, her cubs will spend the winter with her in her den for safety and for survival. Then comes spring next year, 2025, Mama will kick her cubs away, and they will be on their own forever. Mama will then potentially breed again in June of 2025 and start the life cycle over again. In mid-July of 2024, 2 other bears showed up at Bear 1. One was a mature boar, hoping to pair up with mama bear, but sows with cubs do not mate, so he was in and out from time to time, showing up on camera. But the second new bear, a young adult male, whom I started to call Mr. Regular, stayed the course and would show himself and hang around Ray's wild side regularly. By August, he was hitting our bait sites almost every morning, midday or evening. In August, Dad and I decided to add another stand site called Bear 2. So between Bear 1 and Bear 2, we had over 1,000 pounds of feed, keeping mama and cubs fed, and Mr. Regular happy. As September rolled in, so did opening day of Season 1. Season 1 started September 14th and ran until September 24th. The first 2 days, hunting with dogs is illegal. So the first 2 days for hunters in Michigan are huge. No dogs, no shakeup, no chaos. After those first 2 days, hunters can hunt with dogs, meaning hunters send a group of dogs out on fresh bear track, and the dogs are allowed to chase bear across private and public property. Many hunters who hunt private land hate this. Most feel trespassed upon, and many hunters wish the dog season was separate from the hunting with weapons season. Dad and I do not hunt with dogs, so we headed up 2 days before season opened on September 12th, refreshing the bait sites to have a full 1,000 pounds available for bear to feed on and to hunt. Trail mix, bags of donuts, bread, bagels, fruit gummies, candy corn, lemon buttercream frosting pails, 5-gallon jugs of peanut butter and honey. We hauled up to camp and mixed good inside and outside the barrel. We also added candy corn to 2 roller barrels at Bear 1 for the bear to play with and work on while we're hunting. Keep them occupied. So expectations for the hunt were high. Mama bear was on the wild side with her cubs. Mr. Regular was hitting the bait almost every day. But 10 days before we planned to head up for the hunt, Mr. Regular stopped showing up for 2 days, and the barrels went empty. They ate all the food. And we had just been up there 2 weeks before, filling them. I said to Dad, the barrels are empty. Mr. Regular hasn't been back in 2 days. This is not normal for him. I think we should head up for 1 day and refeed Bear 1 and do a light feed at Bear 2. I just had that hunter sense. He might have left. It's late September, and bears are strictly looking for food. Their only goal now is to put lots of weight on, to prepare for the winter. Dad and I debated this for 3 days. And being that we were headed up in 10 days to refeed and to hunt, we decided not to make the extra day trip and refeed early. And that turned out to be a big mistake. Mr. Regular never returned during season 1. It's the biggest mistake I ever made hunting. And I take this shit serious. And in hunting, like sports, or like coaching, or like work, or anything you do, you put your heart and soul in, you don't want to make any mistakes to ruin the opportunity. But in camp, spirits were high. Each day we hunted. We resprayed oil a couple times to get more scent out, to draw a new bear, or to bring back Mr. Regular. Ray Jr., Tom, Ray's brother, and Dave all made the trip up for the first ever bear camp at Ray's. Food was cooked, fish were caught, spirits were poured, smoke was smoked by Ray Jr., football was on TV and watched, hard work was still taking place, and each morning I'd drive into town to the library in Onway to check the cell camera's new pictures and to see if Mr. Regular returned overnight. Dave helped me spray oil one afternoon, and so did Tom, and I thanked them a lot. That was fun to do with them. When you have a camp with family and friends, all positive and supportive, the set runs much better. You cannot have any quitters in camp. It does no good. You cannot have any slackers in camp. It will get you nowhere. Bone collectors Michael Waddell has a saying. He refers to hunters and his hunting family as blood brothers. Well, Ray and his family, along with my dad, Marv Fodor, Gary Wachowski, Kenny Wachowski, Bill Cook, and others, those are my blood brothers. These people share a special place in my heart and will always be remembered for all the good they do, all the good they are, and how forever they will be attached to hunting in my lifetime. The whole gang left after 3 days to head home. Dad and I stayed the course to hunt and finish season 1. On the 5th day of season, I decided to seek 2 other areas I knew held bear on state land. One was 25 miles south in Atlanta, Michigan, on state land behind our other good friend Kenny Wachowski's 40 acres. Kenny passed away in 2010, but Dad and I hunted his place for deer for 10 years plus, and he had black bear all around and on his property. So I knew the huge swamp and state land behind Kenny's old property would have bear on it. So I scouted it. But in the last 4 or 5 years, the state must have clear-cut it. The 2 tracks back there were gone. Poplars grew up all over the old fields, and to get back where I needed to be was a half-mile walk, which is no big deal. But when hauling in 500 pounds of feed, it would be a big job. I found a great spot back there in the low-lying cedars about 80 yards from the swamp's edge on a great game trail. I picked out a tree for a tree stand and noted the location. I decided not to set up a bait there for this trip. I'd save it for season 2, which starts October 4th and runs through October 10th. When we go back up, if no shooters are hitting bear 1 on Ray's land, I'll head to Atlanta and do the work and set up a site. However, I did head out to another site I had previously scouted in midsummer this year. It's 12 and a half miles north of Ray's camp on state land that runs and butts up to Black Lake's east side. The owner of the 211 Outpost Bar and Party Store lives on 300 acres across from the area. Last year, when I was up at the 211 Party Store filling up propane tanks, I asked him if he thought the area that runs next to Coal Creek back there held bear. He smiled at me and said, "I've got 11 bear back there on camera because I'm baiting bear for a friend." So, I know there's black bear back there now. And I went in where I scouted this summer with Dad, and we set up a small bait site. 100 pounds of feed and a large candy corn of block was all we took out there. I covered the bait with heavy logs so the raccoons can't demolish all the feed, hung a trail camera, and used an old deadfall, and made a nice ground blind 15 yards from the bait, built for 1 or built for 2. When we head up for season 2, I'll check the camera, and I'll decide if there's any bear hitting that site and if I want to stay there or go deeper. So, heading into season 2, which starts October 4th and runs through October 10th, I still have hope. I'm going to go deeper. I'm going to work harder. I'm getting on that state land in Black Lake, and I'm keeping the idea of heading to state land in Atlanta as an option. I'm going to set up bait on Ray's a few days early like before. We're going to spray oil. We're going to check our cameras. I'm going to enjoy the time with my dad and go after a Michigan black bear. The reason for this whole bear hunt was to make a dream come true. To hunt black bear with my father on Ray's land with Ray and his family. I've been waiting for this hunt to happen since I was 20 years old. I'm 44 now, soon to be 45 in late October. That's 25 years of waiting. Can't quit now. There's still time. There's a second season waiting just around that corner. And guess what? Guess who showed up? You bet. Mr. Regular just came back to Bear Site 1 on the wild side of Ray's property in the middle of the night on September 25th. Can you believe it? I couldn't. So you know what? Hope just got better. It's game time. Let's hunt. Cue the music. said, I said, gonna run that river fast and make it tight. We're gonna run that bridge topping blacked out close tonight. I said, oh, come on, come on. Start, you work it out and use your strength and go all in. Yeah. And if you fall, will you pick yourself right up and make it right? Just do it right. Come on. Oh. Start, you work it out and use your strength and go all in. And if you fall, will you pick yourself right up and do it right? Just make it right. That fire inside, it's calling, it's driving you out to the wild. Yeah, it's breathing out your name, it's breathing out your heart. It's something you just try to grab. You just got to go. Yeah, you just got to go. yourself. The wheel of seasons change. You watch the ball rolling. You wait and see today. And in your mind, you capture something caution to the wind and move on with it. And in the pines, you walk slow inside, and you'll find everything's just right. Everyone that you knew, take your mind right there, wash all your doubts in the fire. Don't stop till it burns. And when you find yourself there, take a breath and take it in. It's a gift we have. It's a gift we don't surrender in this life. Don't you ever take a chance. I'll never leave this land. I see